MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
After nearly 20 years, the Clark Fork Watershed Education Program will start going by a new name. What sparked this change? Coming up right at the top.
Former President Trump now a convicted felon. From prison time to appeals, I'm Jared Hill outside of Trump Tower with what happens next and how all of this is playing out on the political stage.
I'm Jonathan Ambarian in Helena. As the owners of TikTok challenge a federal law that could force them to sell the app or face a federal ban, a lawsuit over Montana's ban is on hold. I'll have the latest.
I'm MTN's Heaven Van here at the Museum of the Rockies, and today's special guests, mythical creatures. Stay tuned for more.
Alrighty, it is 6 o'clock on this Friday morning. Jane McDonald and Matt Elwell. I feel that way on every Friday. This week, mythical creatures. We found it.
We're in. Yeah, we know what to do.
Exactly.
When the weather turns sour.
I love it.
Or when it's nice. There's so much to do at the Museum of the Rockies.
Never a dull day there.
Morning temperatures a little chilly. Right now, the temperature sitting into the mid-20s in Butte, 25 degrees. Could be a little frosty there this morning, 28. Yikes. Out toward West Yellowstone, 33 in Belgrade. Sun is on the way up, and that means these temperatures will be climbing pretty quickly through the morning. Good chance that our daytime highs will be into the mid, even upper 60s. A slight chance that we could see 70s in the forecast for the afternoon in a few areas. A lot of sunshine doing a lot of work. We'll talk about our rain chances for the weekend, keep you updated on what to expect for the next 7 days in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Now, a Butte group involved in educating people about the environmental health of local waterways has a new name and an expanded role. Montana Tech announced yesterday that the Clark Fork Watershed Education Program has been renamed Ripple, the Center for Education and Ecosystem Studies. The group initially concentrated on environmental studies of waterways in the Clark Fork River Basin, but now that it has designed as a research center, Ripple will be partnering with the Livingston and the Gardner school districts.
We are now crossing the Continental Divide and bringing the hard lessons learned here in the Clark Fork to other communities, creating that legacy of hope and demonstrating that seemingly impossible problems can be solved. So we owe a debt of gratitude to you.
The group started at Montana Tech back in 2005. And the city of Bozeman is hosting its second annual 4th of July fireworks. This Thursday afternoon, Bozeman Fire Department Chief Josh Waldo discussed the show that will be taking place on the 4th of July in Bozeman. 2023 was the first year that the city held a fireworks show, and it took place over at the softball complex. This year, Chief Waldo announced that the fireworks will be moving to the Gallatin County Fairgrounds, where the show was previously held for more than 15 years. Corey Lawrence, the owner of the Armory Hotel, partnered with the city to help with private fundraising. The budget for the fireworks is about $30,000 this year. The fireworks show will start at 10 o'clock and is expected to last just over 20 minutes. And this morning, former President Donald Trump is expected to hold a press conference at Trump Tower after a Manhattan jury made him the first former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime. He was charged with falsifying business records to hide alleged hush money payments his lawyer made to an adult film actress ahead of the 2016 election. CBS News' Jared Hill is outside of Trump Tower with more on the verdict, the reaction, and what comes next.
Former President Donald Trump, now a convicted felon, is vowing to appeal.
I'm a very innocent man. We'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end.
Trump was convicted on all 34 counts of falsifying business records to hide reimbursements to former fixer Michael Cohen, who paid adult film star Stormy Daniels $130,000 in the run-up to the 2016 election. That money to keep quiet about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump. It took the 12 jurors 11 hours to reach a verdict.
The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
In a statement, attorneys for Michael Cohen called the verdict a testament to his credibility, that credibility attacked by Trump lawyer Todd Blanche during the trial and again last night on CNN.
They looked past what we thought were fatal flaws in Mr. Cohen's story and his past, and they reached a guilty verdict.
With the fight out of the courtroom for now, former President Trump turned to politics, attending a fundraiser last night after his guilty verdict. This conviction putting an unprecedented spin on the presidential election.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
The Trump campaign almost immediately pushed fundraising messages, claiming he's a political prisoner. President Biden's campaign also fundraising with a message, there is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box. Trump's sentencing is scheduled for July 11th, just 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
And the charges in this case carry fines and a maximum prison sentence of up to 4 years each. The White House counsel's office released a statement after the verdict saying, quote, "We respect the rule of law and have no additional comment," end quote. Multiple federal and New York law enforcement officials tell CBS News that there have been no changes in security surrounding President Biden or former President Trump since the historic verdict was announced. Now a little bit closer to home, after working its way through the legal system for a year, the lawsuit challenging Montana's ban on the app TikTok is now officially on hold. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian found the case is going to have to wait until the courts rule on a federal law that also deals with the app.
Montana's TikTok ban was set for a hearing in federal appeals court as soon as September. But earlier this month, the parties in the case said it didn't make sense to move forward until TikTok's challenge to a federal law gets resolved. TikTok, a group of content creators, and Attorney General Austin Knudsen filed joint motions asking for a stay in the litigation over Senate Bill 419. Both the appeals court and federal district court agreed. The Montana legislature passed a ban on the app during the 2023 legislative session, citing concerns that TikTok would expose Montana users' personal data to China. Plaintiffs sued, saying the law violated free expression rights. The district court sided with them and issued a preliminary injunction blocking the ban. With the case stayed, the injunction remains in place, so SB 419 won't be enforced. As the parties in Montana's case were submitting their briefs to the appeals court, the legal landscape suddenly changed when Congress passed a measure requiring TikTok's owner to sell it within a year or face a nationwide ban. The company immediately challenged that law. The Montana plaintiffs and the state said the result of that case would clarify the legal issues in their case, particularly because one of the questions was whether Montana's ban conflicted with federal law. Once the national case is decided, the parties in the Montana case will have 30 days to file a status report to determine where to go from there. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
And nearly $5.5 million in rebates have been granted to 8 school districts across Montana to fund clean school buses. The Environmental Protection Agency's Clean School Bus program will help selected districts purchase 23 clean air buses. Officials hope the program will accelerate Montana's transition to zero-emission buses from the current diesel buses.
So not only, does this program really provide for an alternative to a diesel bus for schools, which does create environmental benefits in the localized areas, but it also does lead to cost savings for the schools, and they are able to allocate those funds to other programs.
Sandoval tells MTN that the new buses are safe and reliable. She says the buses are able to operate in both cold and high temperatures and elevations. Districts to receive the rebates are East Helena, Bozeman, Stanford, Livingston Elementary, Big Sky School, Lone Rock, Anderson, and Alberton. And Glacier National Park remains a consistent attraction for tourists and locals alike. With the warmer weather trending, the park is continuing their snow removal process of the Going to the Sun Road. MTN's Carter Culver had the chance to go to the park and speak with members of the crew about the process.
As summer draws near, Glacier National Park prepares to open their doors fully. And one final indicator that they're nearing that opening is the plowing of the top of the Going to the Sun Road.
As we progress through the season, it's been a pretty average season on Going to the Sun Road. We've had very low snow down low, but up as higher we went, the more common, more average the snowpack has been.
This year, the Going to the Sun Road has experienced close to an average amount of avalanches, with 74 total, including 34 that have hit already plowed roads that then warranted replowing. But there has been one key difference.
The last avalanches we had on the road this time last year were the 13th of May, and we've had majority of them just in the last couple weeks that we've had to replow back through. And that's plowing up and then in the afternoon plowing ourselves back out.
And because of those late season avalanches, there's still no set timetable on when the road will become fully open, even with the constant efforts from the plowing crews.
There's no timetable that I can shoot for because right now it's snowing up here. I just talked to a person that biked up here this time last year at 75 degrees all the way to the top. So I can't make any predictions on opening the road just because of the weather.
While the Going to the Sun Road may not be fully open for cars yet, hikers and bikers currently have access to the lower sections of the road and are cautioned to travel carefully.
Currently, during our hiker-biker season, please be aware that when you go beyond the loop, there are additional mountain hazards that you should certainly be heads up about. Look for moving snow, look for rapidly warming temperatures, or mountain weather that changes quickly, and be extra safe and extra prepared if you go beyond the loop.
As the crew continues their work, only time and Mother Nature will tell just when the Going to the Sun Road will be open for the summer. In Glacier National Park, Carter Culver, MTN News.
And an event this Saturday in Butte will make sure kids in the mining city will ride away with a bike. The Kiwanis Club's 25th annual bike rodeo will involve free bicycle safety lessons, and children in need will get a free bike, helmet, and a lunch. Butte's Bike Lab has been tuning up bikes to be given out at the bike rodeo. The Bike Lab recently received dozens of bicycles through generous donations from the public.
We get lots of donations of kids' bikes, and we'll put together, so far we have 60. With any luck, we'll have 70 or so by the time bike rodeo is here Saturday morning. So it's a great community thing, and really kids shouldn't have to go without a bike.
Especially with the nice weather that we'll be having. The bike rodeo is going to be taking place Saturday from 10 in the morning until 12:30 in the afternoon in the rear parking lot of the Butte Civic Center. And the Museum of the Rockies is bringing together fact and fiction with its new Mythical Creatures exhibit. MTN's Heaven Van gives us a sneak peek at the fantastical beasts inside.
Museum of the Rockies has dragons, unicorns, mermaids, and more in their new Mythical Creatures exhibit.
This exhibit comes from the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. It's the first time we've ever done an exhibit with the AMNH, which is really exciting.
Scott Williams, exhibition director at MOR, says the exhibit combines myth and fact for a look at various cultures' mythology and past.
Well, the exhibit has a lot of cool content in it that merges science, mythology, and cultural history. A lot of the animals that you've heard about, dragons, unicorns, the kraken, come from a variety of sources, whether it's oral tradition, whether it's scripture, whether it is based in paleontology.
Scott says museums work with curators, archaeologists, paleontologists, and even artists to create immersive exhibits like this one.
We try to make the exhibit as immersive as possible, so when you walk in, you feel like you're in an area that's the water myths come from, the air myths, the land myths, and of course dragons, which are their own myth.
You can find griffins in the air realm, Sasquatch creatures on land, and a huge kraken in the water realm.
When we put the exhibit together, it came with these giant tentacles. So when you come in, you'll see one of our halls is basically surrounded by 15, 20-foot tall tentacles that are basically starting to engulf the whole room.
The exhibit is already open for visitors, and Scott says it's been a favorite among many.
I think it's cool so far.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
It's cool how there's strange and stuff.
For ticketing and exhibit information, visit our website. In Bozeman, Heaven Van, MTN News.
Well, and the thing I love about that, I mean, it could be the mystical things that get kids interested maybe in real-life sciences or history.
And the Museum of the Rockies, especially this time of year with the Living History Farm and, of course, the dinosaur exhibits and all the great things going on in there. It's a good opportunity.
Never a dull day over at the Moore, so you gotta love it. Now, before we get into a break, I had to share this with you. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a trio of spider monkeys.
Okay.
Having a fun time as spider monkeys should down in the San Diego Zoo. But these monkeys, actually, they have quite the story to tell because these three, they were being trafficked over the U.S. border with Mexico not too long ago. They were trying to be brought into the U.S. illegally, probably maybe sold on a, pet market.
Whatever
somewhere.
the black market for spider monkeys is.
Sure. So thankfully, San Diego Zoo, they were able to get them at the border, and then they were able to get them to their permanent home over at the San Diego Zoo. And as you can see, they're not shy.
No, that's fun. Well, and they have a great exhibit. I've been to San Diego Zoo a couple of times, and definitely a fun see.
Yeah, I think these three are going to be a great addition.
They'll be a hit.
I think so too, especially with the little kids. Now it's time to take a short break here on Montana This Morning. But when we come back, the communities of Nyhart and Monarch coming together after a spring storm rolled in about 2 weeks ago, leaving hundreds of thousands of fallen trees in its wake. We're going to have that story, plus a look at your forecast when we come.